Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Zach, and today we're looking at the ECOMI price, Omi price, VeVe stuff as per usual. Currently the price is 0.003171 on a low of 0.002724 and a high of 0.00365 over the past 24 hours right now. Honestly, Val just messaged me and he was like, yo, I'm about to drop a big video about the vision for VeVe, and I wanted to listen to what his vision is on this. So we've already clicked onto it. I'm ready to listen to what Val has to say. I'm obviously going to bring in my own thoughts on this as far as what I can see happening. This was actually the thumbnail. Now that I think of it, hold up. This was the thumbnail that I used, or the image that I used. Do I come up? I don't even come up, bro. I'm irrelevant. I'm fully irrelevant. That actually sucks. Okay, let's go to channels. Let's filter this. Let's do a bit of digging. Jeez, how am I that irrelevant still? For real? Okay, let's just go to this. This I think was the first video. Here we go. Not the first, but yeah, one of the first. I essentially used this image, and of course Val's clearly found it. To be fair, I think if I just type in metaverse, it comes up. But anyway.
Yo, what is going on, y'all? I'm Cavell Anderson, and we are back with another VeVe and ECOMI video, man. And this one, we're going to be talking about something very big. So, it's very important. This video is going to be very important because we're going to be going over the VeVe vision in terms of the business versus the experience. So, because there's a difference. And so I think that it needs to be explained so people can understand, people can realize where we are and where we're going to be. Because a lot of people don't, well, some people don't see my vision, and a lot of people aren't seeing the vision on the same page and in the same way, and not understanding how we reach certain milestones and stuff.
Because I think a lot of us, you know, I think a lot of people are just buying Omi because they think it's another coin that might go up. And then I think a lot of people, more so myself, I'm also, because I'm not interested. I mean, I am interested somewhat in crypto stuff, but I'm more interested in the business of like the use case, I guess. And so that's what I've been personally looking at, which is why I haven't been going over like, you know, which exchange might we see straight away. Like that's great for some people, but personally, I'm more of a end user sort of business consumer point of view person. So I think Val also has that same way of thinking as far as, you know, what is the end user experience. So that's what he most likely is also very excited about.
Like that, and people will try to ask for like price targets, like in 100% specifics and things like that, not realizing what it actually is going to take and what features VeVe will have that is going to move the price, and I mean really move the price. So everyone thinks about,
because right now essentially we're all looking at the minutiae, and I get that like people don't like me saying that because at the end of the day I know that we've all like invested, I get that, but at the end of the day the difference in the 0.0, quite literally in the 0.00, you know, I know that at the end of the day y'all are investing, but you're investing in essentially a very long-term project that's actually meant to lead somewhere, like what I think Val's going to explain here. And so the first few months of it being on, you know, on the exchange and stuff, I'm just like, you know, we're looking at the minutiae anyway.
From a crypto mindset, that is the smallest part of this whole. Well, it's
literally
not the smallest part. It's actually pretty big, since
it's just different.
Single feature basically goes back to Omi. But it's not what's being focused on, because it has nothing to do with what's going to really make us the money in the long run. So let's actually go into what's important, not exchange listings, not any of this. Like this
literally what I just said, right? Literally what I just said, because Cavell and I have, you know, we've worked together on projects before, and I'm sure at some point we'll probably do a podcast where we might explain like what we've been up to in the past. But just for those of you who it might be lost on you, Cavell and I have been friends for the past 6 years roughly. I won't go through all of the history right now, but he has been very, you know, we've had our ups and downs, and Val knows this, but he's been very instrumental in me figuring out, for example, what my worth is. Because I was talking to him whilst I was in school. He wasn't in school, he'd finished school, but I was talking whilst I was still in school. We were in gaming projects together, and he was very helpful in trying to help me wrap my head around how the real world works as far as like a business approach, as far as like being able to sustain yourself, this, that, and the other. So yeah, no, we do have some history around that, and we've spoken a lot about our own visions for what we can see coming up in the future. And that was like 5-6 years ago. So whoops, my bad.
This is going to help investors and traders. Yes, it's all beautiful things to have, because yeah, that's going to be the aspect of the token that works like every other crypto. It's going on exchanges, it's getting marketed in the crypto world, that's a different side of this. Like the Omi as far as the token goes, just keep it separate. Keep it separate for now.
Yeah,
But
totally.
before we jump into it, be sure to drop that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Be sure to drop a...
I mean, it's very unlikely that if you're watching this, you don't really subscribe to Val, but obviously subscribe to him, and obviously, subscribe to me, But yeah.
thumbs up on this one, because I definitely want to spread out basically what we're going to go over in this video. So starting out here, we're going to go over the business. So what is the VeVe business? We're going to talk about the front end business. The front end business, you come, you create an account, you buy NFTs, you buy and sell in the marketplace, you connect with other NFT enthusiasts, and then you have a collection which you can share.
So essentially the onboarding process for one to be connected, essentially become hopefully either a monthly active user, a weekly active user, or a daily active user. The onboarding process is really important here.
Whether you're sharing content in video format, whether you're sharing pictures, doesn't really matter. The collection is all about sharing and spreading it, and whether it's with people on the VeVe app, or it's people around, or like whether you want to trade, buy from each other, just creating that experience like that. That is a part of the business, just like the basic business model. And then you have the back end business. Everything goes back to Omi. It's all Omi. The back end business is something that only we know about. The crypto side of the community, it's not something that's supposed to be big and prevalent in VeVe at all. It's not something that they want people to know about because it's not something that's...
I want to talk about this real quick.
It's not something that's neat. It does not matter as far as the experience goes.
I want to see if he talks about it first, so I don't want to... Yeah.
So, Omi, when people always say the token has no utility, everything revolves around the token.
Okay, so he didn't go over it, so I want to quickly explain it myself because I think this is also what Val believes in. And he might talk about it later in the video, but just in case. So the easiest way, because I've tried to explain this stuff to friends of mine who aren't into crypto, a lot of us will know that can be very difficult, right? Now, as far as the Omi token is concerned and how it ties into VeVe, what's important, I think, and I think even Reese and a few others basically who work at ECOMI have also said this, is if and when VeVe does what it needs to do, the majority of people are going to barely be thinking about Omi. The majority of users are barely going to be thinking about Omi. And that's because, similar to right now, for example, when you're watching this YouTube video, do you know how you're watching this video? Do you know how the HTML player works? Do you know when the next update for the HTML player is? Have you checked on that last time, from a week ago, from a month ago? Do you know which version you're even on? No, most likely not unless you're a nerd, which, like me, endearing term, trust me. And that's the whole thing. You don't need to know the technology behind what you're enjoying. And it's a similar thing here. Now, some people are going to be interested in it. And of course, that will generally be the investors as well. And, eventually over time, crypto will become more mainstream as it is right now. But as far as the product is concerned, most people are going to not need to care about Omi as far as the crypto side is concerned. It's a similar way as well, when you buy skins or cosmetics in Fortnite or Call of Duty, you either buy V-Bucks, Call of Duty points, etc. You don't know how that V-Bucks transaction works out. All or what most people know is, you pay for a certain currency and then you can buy something with that in-game currency.
But that's not important for the VeVe experience because this experience is not meant to just target crypto people.
Oh,
the
gosh.
People who know, if you know, you know.
Has he already said it?
The token is supposed to be like damn near an inside secret type of thing.
Okay, he says it. My bad.
If you know, you know. But let's look at this. So,
I don't feel as bad though because I think I went a little bit more in depth with that. But yeah,
we're gonna go over the experience now. What is the experience versus the business? The business is okay. We create NFTs. We buy NFTs. You're supposed to buy NFTs, sell NFTs, connect with other NFTs and enthusiasts. Like that. That's the business. Like so. What you see, the VeVe app right now, everything you see on the VeVe app right now, that's the business. It's getting good, it's getting solid, and they're just now starting to get the business perfected. They're perfecting the business.
Chromebooks are a different way to laptop, starting with the everything button. So you
But also, we don't know what they're working on when it comes down to the experience, because that's something that we have not seen yet. So what is the VeVe experience? The experience is the VeVeVerse. That's the big thing. So let's get into the real moneymaker here. The real moneymaker here. While the NFTs, while the drops and stuff like that, it generates money, it burns Omi and stuff like that. Let's get into the experience. Like this is the experience. So as you can see here on the screen, we got a picture representation here. A metaverse. They want to build a metaverse, which is basically just a 3D world. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be at the level of Fortnite.
Sorry, I just need to... I've got my phone out. I'm just going to tweet Val, or sorry, DM Val, just show him that I'm reacting to his video.
I'm not saying it's going to be at the level of GTA. I'm not saying the map is going to be as big as either. I don't know what size it's going to be. Like, I don't know. Yeah, we don't have enough information on the size and how much.
We don't know the parameters right now. We just don't know the parameters because they haven't given any information. And honestly, to be fair, I don't think VeVe's even said most of this stuff. I think this is also coming from both myself and Val, just knowing what the capabilities are, what the options are, and having essentially Val and I ourselves, like obviously Val has his own vision, but like. We have our visions for what this can be. You know, we've seen a lot of things before. Obviously, Val's seen different things to me. I've seen different things to Val, but especially, and this is what helps, right? Val and I both come from gaming, right? Which means we can see things essentially in gaming, and we can see the parallels. Like I've already spoken to Val about how posting ECOMI videos is very similar to posting gaming videos, honestly. As far as like there are constant updates, like in games, like have a constant updates, you know, as far as like the experience itself, like being able to like with GTA 5, having an open world, a totally open world game where you can essentially go into a simulated kind of part of California, which is obviously Los Santos, Yosemite, which of course is also part of GTA. You have Blaine County, which is the other part of GTA, etc. And all those parts of GTA, essentially, if that was, and actually, I want to show this. I want to show this. Most of you will have already seen this, most likely, but just in case, GTA first person. Right, imagine this, right? Imagine this in VR, right? And this is basically not necessarily what VeVe is trying to do, because they've already said that they're not necessarily trying to, I mean, yeah, they're not trying to do VR stuff right now, but what they are trying to do is AR stuff. They are still doing AR stuff, and realistically, you know, apart from being able to shoot people, which maybe, oh, this is a 5-star rampage, that's literally my fault for clicking on that video. Let's go to Casual Sunday Drive, right? Now, essentially in the VeVe universe, it's a mixture between our current universe and having an alternate reality, which I know AI is obviously augmented reality, but just the whole thing of being able to essentially immerse yourself in a different universe. And I actually also want to show something else I found on Twitter recently from Mark, the VeVe Wiki guy, who, by the way, definitely awesome Twitter account. Definitely follow him, VeVe Wiki. The future of VeVe and ECOMI, touching holograms, incredible real-time interaction and immersion demo with holograms via Microsoft HoloLens 2 to compensate for the absence of a sensation of touch. The holographic cube produces a sound and bright light when taken. Now, if you have a look at this, we can see what it looks like. Now, again, this is nothing physical, but we all know that this technology, well, I don't know if we all do know, actually, to be fair, because people act like this isn't what VeVe's trying to do. I genuinely think that VeVe is trying to do this, and I hope that they're trying to do this, otherwise I'm not as excited, honestly, because this is the sort of thing that I think VeVe really could get into. Whether they're the ones who provide the wearables, I don't know, but whatever the case is, you know, right now we're seeing cubes, but what happens when we're seeing other utilities that I can't think of the top of my head right now, but just the idea of being able to literally build your own reality around you is absolutely huge. But let's go back to Val's video. Let's see what else he's saying. Hold up.
No, it's just a lot that we don't know. But this is what a metaverse is, and they've said multiple times they want to build a metaverse, which is just a 3D world. Now, this, like, and when you're looking at this 3D world, you got to think about it like this. So let's say this is Disney. Let's say we have Disney here on this world. So we got Disney here. Then here we have DC Comics. Then here we have Pokemon. Then here we have Jurassic Park.
Oh, I see what he's doing. Okay, I see what he's doing now.
Whoever owns Jurassic Park, like basically the big brands. You're going to have different areas. Oh, my bad if y'all heard that. I hit the mic. But you're going to have different areas for different things. And this is a map of Disney World, by the way.
So actually, this brings me back to when myself and Val, because both myself and Val have also worked in covering Fortnite at one point. We were speaking about Fortnite theme parks, and the fact that realistically, imagine building a theme park around IP. Now, you know, oftentimes when I talk about this sort of thing, I'm met with resistance because they're like, "F Fortnite," you know, screw Fortnite, is overrated. Overrated is so subjective. At the end of the day, if there are numbers, there are numbers. If people are interested, people are interested. If there's a market, there's a market. And the point is essentially is that there is definitely scope. Obviously, with COVID, it's different right now, but there's definitely scope for us to see our own fan-made worlds, or not even fan-made worlds necessarily, but fan-based worlds, I should say, where we have fan-favorite IPs being in their own universe that we can essentially go to one to the other.
If you don't know, it's just a map of Disney World, and it's just an example. We don't know if it's going to be this big. We don't know. There's a lot of information, but it's just used for example purposes. So keep that in mind. Basically, all the licenses and stuff like that we have. What I'm expecting, or what I'm thinking, is they're going to have different spaces for all these things, for all these different brands to coexist.
Why is the quality so... I'm on HD right now, bro.
Let's say you go into the Disney area.
Why is this camera like that, bro? I know he's got a good camera.
Maybe you see some games that you can only play if you have.
Oh, I know what it is. Hold up. I know what it is. I think it's probably still processing. I think it's still probably just processing. I hope it's still processing. I hope that was the issue. Yeah, it was. Good.
It's used for example purposes. So, to coexist within here. Let's say you go into the Disney area. Maybe you see some games that you can only play if you have a Disney NFT. You go to the DC area. Batman games. Maybe you see some games you can only have. You got a Batman NFT.
That literally. Oh my gosh.
They said specifically
that literally goes to the entire thing of what we were speaking about with NFT tickets, right? You know, if you pay, say, $1,000, bear in mind, so this is all very premium. Say you pay $1,000 for a lifetime, or for a 10-year pass, whatever it might be, and then people, there's a resale market, there's a smart contract involved where essentially Disney takes 50%, 80%, whatever the hell they want to in a smart contract, and essentially the resale market. So say that they sell, I don't know, $1,000 tickets, right? And obviously that itself is $1 million. But then when you think about, obviously, is that $1 million? Yeah, that's $1 million. And then of course, if you think about the resale of that 20 times over, they are making many, many, many millions.
You will be able to drive,
and that's just onboarding. Like, don't forget about the fact that obviously that is then having people in the ecosystem. Then obviously there are upsells where you can buy food, drinks, this, that, the other. So this really does change macroeconomics.
Your vehicles around the VeVeVerse. They have said you're going to be able to drive your vehicles around the VeVeVerse. I'm assuming you're going to have locations to drive to, so they're going to separate things. Or what they could do is have one big place. So let's just say this was the whole this is the whole thing. Like where I said it could be Disney, this could be the whole thing. And here they're going to basically have everything. So you're going to have DC over here on the left side. You're going to have Marvel on the right side. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like basically all the brands. Like, and by the way, if I'm saying some unconfirmed brands and it's bothering you, think in your head a brand that is actually but yeah, this is going to be all the confirmed brands are going to be in this little section here.
Doesn't bother me, Val. Doesn't bother me.
This is going to be for all of us. This is going to be the rest of the VeVeVerse. So let's dive into it a little bit. What is involved in the experience? Buy your own land, which burns Omi, by the way. Customize your land, also burns Omi. Customize the assets on your land.
This man wrote up, bro. This man has done more work for this video than any video I've ever seen him do work for. I can tell he's written notes, bro. He doesn't do that in gaming at all, from what I've seen at least.
Different types of tables, for instance, also burns Omi. customize your NFTs.
And these are all the upsells that I was speaking about, right?
Like that, and really making it unique. Also burns Omi. Playing games. We don't have enough information on playing games, but it still burns Omi. Because let's say that the games in particular...
Now, he's talking about upsells within the digital space, right? Things that burn Omi, playing games, customizing things. Now, when I'm talking about upsells, I'm talking about literally just having people within your space that will buy water. You know, that's a business. If you have people in your ecosystem, you know, I was actually speaking with a friend recently about this because we were speaking about how, like, because Microsoft recently in the Epic versus Apple lawsuit confirmed that Microsoft has never made a profit, and you can look this up yourself, has never made a profit on Xbox hardware sales ever, because essentially they do a small loss. I don't know how small that loss is, but they essentially accept the small loss to get people into the ecosystems because, of course, people, there's like, what's the point in having an Xbox if you don't buy games? Like, every game that people buy is just making more and more money for Xbox. Same thing with PlayStation. They didn't confirm it, but they'll be the same business model for PlayStation. It's the same thing, I think, for Amazon Alexa systems too. Pretty sure that they sell all of that for a loss just so that they have you in your ecosystem. With Alexa, for example, you know, say that you want to buy something, you know, buy me some bread, buy me some water, whatever it might be. You know, Amazon can essentially choose exactly where it's going to go. Obviously, the point here is essentially is that once you have people in your ecosystem, it's worth selling at a loss.
It could be genius at. So, like I said, it could cost you. You could have to have, and I'm pretty sure they said you have to have a certain NFT to get into some places on the VeVeVerse. But I've seen so much content, I forgot so much. I'm not going to swear to that. But I'm pretty sure they said that you're going to have certain NFTs to get into certain places on the VeVeVerse. But that could be the route that they go. Or if it does not, if like the games in itself does not cost in the VeVeVerse at all. If the games is 100% free, you don't have to pay for admissions, you don't have to have NFTs or anything like that, it's still going to burn Omi. And here is why. Because you're going to see other characters in there, who has their cars and stuff customized. You're going to see their NFTs with different capes and stuff like that. You're going to see different animations on different NFTs maybe. You're going to see a whole world full of people with different things that you like, things that you really love.
So right now it sounds like Val's talking about social currency.
Say they give us avatars because we don't know. Like from what we've heard, it would be very, very difficult to do something like make Batman, for instance, get into a car. So maybe the VeVeVerse, you're not going to be able to play as Batman necessarily, but you're going to be able to, your avatar is going to be able to play as Batman. See what I'm saying? So your avatar can do things like get in and out of cars, more so than your NFT being able to do that. So that could be the route that they go based on where the technical capabilities that they currently have. So basically, you have this world where you're driving around, you get to see someone else's vehicles, you get to see someone else's capes on their NFTs, you get to see someone else's collection that they're using in the VeVeVerse.
And this isn't far from what Gary Vee has said about the fact that, you know, there will be most likely some sort of, you know, NFT wallets where I remember him actually saying that, you know, there's going to be a point where this is a bit off topic, but there'll be a point where, you know, for example, people will have watches on probably. And with that watch, you can essentially scan certain things, right? So say, for example, you're at a sports game, right? And you're at a major sports game, a historic sports game. Say, for example, in rugby, I know All Blacks versus Wales would be major, right? All Blacks being New Zealand's team. Now, say that you put your watch, say that when you leave the stadium at, say, halftime, you scan your watch and you then have an NFT that says you've been to the All Blacks game, the Wales versus All Blacks game, and you stayed up until halftime, and then say someone else leaves at the end of the game, and they'll scan it and it'll say they left at full time, and then there'll be essential proof of who left at what time, and that itself has social currency. You know, if someone says, "Oh yeah, I saw that last try," which is essentially like a score, I guess, in football, whatever. I saw that last try, and they'll be like, "No, you didn't." Like, it sounds dumb, but this is exactly how humans work. You know, we look at each other's Facebook profiles, Instagram profiles. We keep up to date with what everyone's doing. Now, you might not, but a lot of people do. And most likely is that will transfer over through this whole, essentially the blockchain stuff.
Invite people in the VeVeVerse back to see your collection, maybe secure some sales and stuff like that. Like, you get to create an entire experience. And playing games is still going to boost, it's still going to burn Omi, because when you're seeing all this cool customization and stuff like that, what that's going to do, that's going to make you want to know how to do that. You want to make you know how to get that. And that's why this is targeted at kids as well. Because kids, like, they play games all the time. Kids play games. I mean, everybody plays games a lot, but most people play games a lot. But yeah.
That's what I'm telling you, bro. He come from gaming. He know this. And this is the thing, as a gamer, especially in the online world of gaming, it's so easy to understand this because, you know, skins will sell for hundreds of dollars. I mean, CSGO skins, and some of you might know this, Counter-Strike is a game. It's a first-person shooter where essentially you're shooting, I guess. And you know, skins go for tens of thousands and thousands in common, more because tens of thousands I think is less common, but thousands is common, hundreds is definitely common. People spending money on skins, you know, like at the end of the day, what can you do with a CSGO skin? Nothing outside of CSGO. You know, you can put $5,000 down on a skin and it literally means nothing when you walk outside your front door. But when you're at your computer with other people within the CSGO community, that $5,000 skin is worth more than 5,000 maybe even. So, you know, this whole thing is a social currency thing. It's a similar thing. You know, Gary was using the example of what is an Instagram verification, what is a Twitter verification, what is a YouTube verification worth? Because realistically on screen, it's just a tick. So, you know, can you buy money or can you buy food with that tick? Can you eat that tick? You know, can you keep yourself sustained through that tick? No, it's a social currency.
So this experience is meant to see, oh, his Batman looks cool. Why does his Batman look like that? What type of cape is that? I want to go and buy that cape too. So this, the playing the games, the social aspect, the being there with other people in that setting, doing stuff, is going to let you see things that you've never seen. Maybe somebody got a T-Rex in a Jurassic Park drop and you didn't get that T-Rex, but now you can see the T-Rex firsthand. Like you go to somebody land that they bought, you go to their land that they bought, and right outside their land, they got a big old T-Rex just sitting there standing guard. And you think that that's cool. You want a T-Rex now. What are you going to do? You're going to go to the marketplace. You're going to go and buy you a T-Rex now because you want a T-Rex to stand outside of your property. So
social currency. You can't eat that T-Rex. You can't drink that T-Rex as far as your nourishment or anything like that. But it's social currency.
This is the vision.
And actually, if you can't get the game thing, maybe that's fine. Same thing with designer clothing. You know, realistically, Gucci, Balenciaga, etc., these designer brands are worth something because of the social currency. The material, realistically, it's not. The t-shirt itself, we all know this, it's the logo. The logo is what makes something worth more. That's generally it. I mean, yes, there will of course be more premium materials generally, but the amount that it costs to use those premium materials to make that, you know, that t-shirt or that hat or that bag or whatever is not, you know, at the end of the day, you're paying more because of the brand.
Is the experience, like everything right now, this is just like the simple vision that they're building out. But it's not simple. It's very, very complex and tough what they're doing. And this is like, that's the vision that the competitors are competing with right now. That vision. The VeVeVerse is a whole different beast that people keep forgetting about. People forget just how intricate this system could be and how much Omi this has the potential to burn. Because if everything in this whole world burns Omi, and people, like, the world is so good that people are constantly in this world, constantly, it's just a big world and it's constantly being used.
Now, this is also, you know, he's talking about things being constant is a very good word here. And this is how I look at things with daily active, monthly active users, right? Is having collectibles is really, really awesome. And taking on that market is amazing. But in order to have a mainstream market where there are many millions, tens of millions, even hundreds of millions of people using the product, there needs to be more than 20,000 collectibles. You see where I'm going with this? I think collectibles is one amazingly important thing, but I think giving the many, many millions of people who would be interested in it, the product that they, you know, so it's actually available, is a totally different thing.
That's a lot of Omi being burned 24 hours a day. Right now, you have to think about the fact that we burned 5 billion Omi. 5 billion Omi has been burned off one drop a week. One drop a week, and sometimes it's not even one drop a week. So, and then now they sell out in like 10 minutes. 10 minutes, sometimes not even 10 minutes. So, we're burning billions of Omi in 10 minutes a week. 10 minutes a week has gotten us to where we are as far as the Omi burn. What happens when that time spent burning is extended to an hour a day or an hour a week? Not just 10 minutes a week. What about an hour? What about 2 hours a week? What about every single day, all day, around the clock, a world of VeVe experience is being experienced? Like when the experience comes into play and is being used around the clock, this world is constantly going with all these different NFTs. This is why they say the VeVeVerse or the VeVe is going to be the Disneyland of NFTs, because this is the vision.
And that's one thing, is it being Disneyland. And then we think about how can we use this for more than, Disneyland, I think, is a very big part of escapism. And escapism itself is huge. But then also seeing utility. And that's something that I haven't necessarily thought about too much, apart from literally in this moment, is how can this actually become a utility? How can this be used for things other than escapism? And actually, I want to hear your thoughts on this. Obviously, that gets into quite a difficult realm to think about. But, I'm thinking education maybe, or, all these different things that are definitely possible. I'm very, very interested in seeing how they can make it utility-based.
This is what they've been saying. This is all stuff that they've already talked about. This is stuff that we've already heard them themselves say. This is not stuff that's being made up. This is stuff that's out there. You can find interviews of them saying this stuff. You can find interviews of them saying. Now, obviously, not so much detail maybe, but if you put together collectively all the things that they have said, this is all the announced things. We don't even know what else could be included, what other utility the token may have. We don't know this. But this is where the big burns come into effect. So you have so many people who, when you give a price prediction and you say something like $1, they're like, oh, this will never hit $1. Just the business.
Yep. Because that's the thing. A lot of people are just interested in seeing the price so far, which from what I've seen, I think the maximum has been like, and I could be wrong, but something like 60 to 80 cents I've seen, I think. Whoops. Like, this is right now, like the most in some way impressive NFTs that we've seen is Ritmo, because they're animated. Obviously, we're about to see cover girls with it for the DC universe. And they're, I think, going to be animated with AR too. So I think they're going to be the next step. But so far, we've seen not even a sliver of the beginning. And yet people are worried, which I understand. Again, if you're not researching and you don't understand everything as far as the product is concerned, the crypto, of course, most people watching this will understand better than I do. To be very clear, like I'm gonna put the humility out there, say that now. I don't understand the crypto as much as many of you will, right? I'm learning about it and I'm learning pretty fast, but I'm definitely not 10 years or even a year or even 5 months into this, right? You can look at my description for that. But from a consumer product point of view, I do have some time in me, and I definitely have my own successes, and I've seen what does well. And I firmly believe in this simply because of the product itself. Whoops.
Only like that, if you just keep it strictly on the business, take the VeVeVerse out, just the business could hit $1.
What happens when it turns in?
Yeah,
literally.
That's going to make VeVe unique from anything else. The VeVeVerse. The experience that people are that's going to take us from 10 minutes a week, burning all this Omi and doing these drops once a week. What's going to happen when we go from what we have right now to burning Omi around the clock every day, all day? That is the vision that people see that a lot of people don't see, because a lot of people may not have this information or something. So I just wanted to break this down so maybe some people could understand a little bit better the direction VeVe is trying to go in. This is the vision. This is what VeVe is trying to become. This is what they're building. So when people wonder why the price isn't moving, why the price isn't doing this, why the price isn't doing that, keep this in mind. This is a simple answer why the price isn't moving like that.
Sorry, I was just DMing
There
Bell.
is way too much.
Man's hit himself in the top creator for ECOMI videos, which I'm just proud of him for.
Omi for these burns, for like for any of that to
From
really
a stats point of view, to be very clear, he sent me over this vidIQ screenshot where he's the top creator for it. So
impact the price right now.
it doesn't surprise me though, because he's been going on about this in Discord calls with me for the past 2 months. So
The price is not being impacted too heavily because there's way too much Omi. Omi in itself is not valuable because there's so much of it. But what happens when on drop day, there's a little bit less Omi, we gain a little bit more value. Every time there's a drop, a little bit less Omi, we gain a little bit more value. But right now, we're gaining so little value that, like, it's microscopic. The value that we're gaining is microscopic because all we have is the business. What happens when the experience is here? When the VeVeVerse comes? When these features that burns this around the clock all day, every day starts kicking into gear? That's when we're going to start seeing stuff like buybacks. That's when it's really going to make that. Me personally, that's when I'm expecting buybacks. It's only going to make sense if we're burning Omi all day, every day. Doing 1 drop a week, 2 drops a week, let's say.
damn, I just got a really important email. I was like, oh crap, I had to do something. So
3 to 4 drops
that's why I haven't been looking at the screen. But yeah, no, what Val's saying makes total sense.
a week. I don't know if that's going to burn enough Omi where it would make sense to do a buyback. But if they're burning Omi all day, every day, then okay, it makes sense to do a buyback. Now, this, like, building this world out, depending on how advanced this world is, we don't know how long it could take to actually build out this VeVeVerse. We don't know how long it could take. We don't know if they started it already, if it was just an idea, if maybe, yeah, we don't know. We don't know how far. We don't.
And this is what's difficult for I think both myself and Cavell is like, because we're speaking so much about ECOMI, obviously Val has spoken a lot more about ECOMI than I have, but even with myself, like, it's difficult because right now I know I'm going to get hate for this, and please just understand, like, please understand that I never say anything with the intent to hurt anyone, genuinely. Like, I'll speak up for myself if someone starts digging at me, but none of this is, like, trust me, I love sunshine and rainbows. Like, you'll see that over time, I guess, as you'll understand me more and more, because I'll just be putting more content out and you'll get to know me better and stuff. But what I'm trying to get at here is that, you know, I think both Val and I, that's both of our, not concerns, but one of our pet peeves currently is that, you know, currently, obviously, everyone is thinking about the exchanges because at the end of the day, some people are losing money on their investment. And I get that. I totally get that, right? Obviously, and I'm not financially advising, but just the general rule of thumb, I feel like, is don't invest what you can't afford to lose, especially short term. You know what I mean? Like, this whole thing is so much bigger than I think a lot of people are giving it credit for. Maybe I still think a lot of people see this as simply a new toy manufacturer, and it's just so far ahead of that, so long as they pull everything through. But I think more people are worried about the exchanges, which I understand. Again, I understand that y'all want an up on your investments and stuff. I do understand that totally, and don't ever get that twisted. I empathize. I genuinely do empathize. But from a business point of view, from a macro business point of view, I'm just not worried. You know, someone said, you know, will you keep ECOMI accountable if they don't announce a new exchange this month? And I said, well, realistically, it might not be this month, but I know that it's happening. And if it doesn't happen, then of course, you know, this is the thing. Nothing is a given with this stuff. In business, nothing is ever a given. And you'll know that as investors, hopefully. Nothing is ever a given, but, you know, you can bet on people, which is what Val says a lot himself, right? And we've seen the people who that are working on ECOMI do crazy and incredible things, legacy things in their lifetimes. So if all jocks to bet on, I feel like ECOMI is one of them, considering what they could do. And again, this is going to take forever. It's going to take a while, right? We're not going to see any of this happen this year, nor next year, nor the year after, most likely. But we're going to see build-ups. We're going to see developments. And of course, that's just for, you know, you, I suppose, to yourself envision to see what you might be able to think about with that.
They could have been building the VeVeVerse this whole time. The VeVeVerse could be damn near done, or the VeVeVerse could be unstarted. Like, and that's why it's hard to predict the price and predict what can happen and things like that. Because let's say we expect the VeVeVerse 3 years from now because it hasn't even been started. Okay, that really changes how quickly things come. Let's say
this is what we're saying.
The VeVeVerse has been done, and they announce that shit next month. The price, the news of that alone could drive the price up. But then once it actually gets into effect and start burning all this stuff, that's when things go crazy. So it's very hard to...
I think Val's trying to also, and Val, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, obviously, but I feel like Val, like I say, I think he's had this vision with VeVe for a bit now, and it's just difficult to try and convince, which is why I personally stopped bothering. I don't know if Val has stopped bothering, but personally, if people email me or DM me telling me how bad their investment is, I ignore them at this point. Not because I don't have any empathy, but because I'm like, you know, what do you say? You know, like, if you don't have the same vision, which is also why it's really important for people like myself and Val to put out these videos so that, you know, we can't expect you to understand what we think unless we put it out in front of you. And I think, you know, Val messaged me and said he was going to be making this video. I'm like, that's perfect, because I also wanted to put my own thoughts on what we could see. And honestly, compounding it on top of Val's video, you know, how long have I been recording now? I've been recording for 40 minutes, so already double the time of Val's video, right? Because I've had my own thoughts on all of this, and even though I'm new to this, again, I'm new to the crypto end, not to the business end.
For anyone to accurately pinpoint what is possible right now as far as a price prediction. So when people sit here and tell you, oh, it's definitely not hitting $1, it's 100% not going to hit $10, you don't know. The difference is I don't 100% know. But based on these facts, based on the facts, this is the facts
we can
of how
connect
this
the
is going
dots.
to burn, how this is going to work.
We
based
can connect the
on
dots.
This, with these amount of burns, with the, like, depending on how many people, like, let's say they have 100 million people. If they have 100 million people, it's burning Omi around the clock. Yes, it's going to burn Omi slower. Playing this around the clock, burning Omi. This is going to work like a machine. Like $10 is not going to be out of reach. And because of this whole experience, yeah, more traders is going to come. Traders and investors might boost the price. They might boost the price because they start to see more value in VeVe. They might see a potential at some point. They might see a potential from this. Like, by the time we hit $1, they might see the potential. Oh, this project has just now come together. They just now released the VeVeVerse. Okay, we can invest in this because with the VeVeVerse release and understanding how this works, this could go to $10. That could be when we see other investors and stuff jump on the project because it still has room to keep going up. So I just wanted to share this information because I think that it's very, very important to kind of expand your mindset and really just think it over and understand the full vision.
Totally agree. I think this was a really good video. I'm hoping that people will have watched that entire thing. I think some people are going to dislike it regardless because I feel like there's cynicism in the world, I guess. That's the main thing. But I genuinely, this is why, like, honestly, when I look at the Omi price, I do it because I know people are interested. But, you know, realistically, I personally, and not even as someone who knows a lot about crypto specifically, but I personally have a rough idea at this point of what moves the needle, which is value, right? Now, IPs are valuable, but how valuable are they without the app being able to take on many millions of users? And how is the app going to take on many millions of users if they haven't marketed yet? Which again ties in with how ready is the app for that? Because what we don't want is for Ninja to be paid to market, or even better, we don't want Ninja to want to just post content and therefore market VeVe. You know, we don't want it to be a Fortnite skin out where Ninja is showing it on TikTok or Twitch or whatever, and then have, you know, 10 million people try and download it, and then the app crashes, because at that point then you have more bad publicity than good publicity. Now obviously that can be flipped around and reversed, but there's no point. Like, we may as well just have a smooth as possible launch, as smooth as possible rise. And of course everyone's going to have their own thoughts on that, but that's personally what I think. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment below. Of course, make sure to follow me on Twitter. I'm at Zakizu. I post stuff as per usual, and of course make sure to subscribe to Vel, as I'm sure the majority of you will already be. So with that being said, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.